Good morning. As presiding officer of this Toastmasters meeting, I call it to order. We'll start with the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you. Do we have any announcements? I put my filled out survey over there next to the blank surveys. We, as we still need to set a date for the officers' meeting soon. And I tried to go get the minutes like I was instructed to do, but I couldn't get them. They're like, there's nothing here. So I was unable to do that. All right, any other announcements? I'm going to relinquish control of the lectern to our Toastmaster of the day, Larry McKenzie.
Good morning, Toastmasters. How's everyone this morning? Wide awake, I can see. Nope. Okay. Well, first things first, what we have to do is let everyone know that there are some people that are online and in person. We'll let you know who those people are shortly. But before we do that, I'm going to call up Mary, who will be giving us our inspiration this morning.
Music can touch us emotionally where words can't alone. That's Johnny Depp.
Thank you, Mary. Before I begin, our theme today is music. What's on your playlist? So that could be a very vague title for what our meeting is, unless you're into some music. And we'll get into that in a moment. But before we do that, do you have the list, Kate, of the people? You did. I'm gonna relinquish control to Kate for a moment. She'll let you know who's in the room and who she keeps writing down. So
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. I am Kate. Welcome back our guests, soon to be new members, Chris and Zach. I am our Vice President of Education, and Marty, as Vice President of Membership, and I are pleased to announce that next week, April 2nd, we will have our new member induction, and Zach and Chris will be inducted, possibly Alicia. I don't see her online, but I know I can't see everybody. And so let's see, I will share who is in the space. Also passing around again after like last week is the second quarter schedule, the blank. So if you'd like to X yourself out, dates you cannot be there, but choices or wish list of I'd like to be Toastmaster this day or Table Topics Master. I'd like to give a speech on this day and this day. We do our best. This Sunday, Mary and Derek and I are getting together in the afternoon to tighten that up. And it begins April 9th because next week, Eric will be here as Toastmaster of the Day, and the schedule has already been part of the first quarter, even though it's technically the second quarter. So April 2nd, the lineup is on the agenda. I'm not sure who the speakers are, so please go ahead and look at that for yourself. And I think Eric plugged in his theme. I'll take a look, and should I just introduce that I'm grammarian too, probably? I might as well. Okay. So who is in the space right now? We have Len, Darcy, Nancy, Mike Licata, Larry, Beth, Dave Licata, myself, Kate, Mary, Carol, Sylvia, Maggie. Because the clipboard walked away from the front by mistake, did I miss anybody else? Len, he's here. He signed on it before and Mike Florio, he signed on it before the clipboard was taken. In Zoom, I can see we have Margot, Tracy, David Jones, Marshall, Phil, and Sam. Am I missing anybody? Len? Or anybody on Zoom. Great. Good to see you all. And as grammarian, I will be listening. Please use strong grammar. Avoid weak grammar. It weakens our credibility as speakers. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster Larry.
thank you. Thank you very much, Kate. Our theme for today is music. What's on your playlist? And you may ask why I came up with that. Well, first of all, I had a text message about 20 minutes after our meeting last week saying, "Hey, Larry, guess what? You're going to be the Toastmaster next week." So I was kind of busy over the weekend. I went to the Hooli, which was fun. And I listened to a lot of great music. And I said, music. I know a little bit about music. So I think maybe what we'll do is we'll use that as a theme. And before I introduce some of our role holders, I wanted to tell you a little bit about that. Music actually formed a lot of our lives throughout the years, and music plays an integral part, whether you think it or not, whether it's in growing up or as in your adult life. And growing up, I was introduced to a lot of different music styles, some that you've probably never heard of. I grew up in Niagara Falls, but I lived most of my childhood in Nova Scotia. There, they had a lot of music, which was a form of maritime and Celtic mix. And there were some great artists that you probably, maybe some of you have heard of. But I grew up listening to those because that's what my parents listened to. And I wanted to share a couple of them with you because I still have some of those, what are called albums, that have them on it. One of the, how you doing, Mike? Good, good. Good to see you. One of those was every Wednesday night on TV on a Canadian channel, there was this artist. His name was Harry Hibbs. How many of you ever heard of Harry Hibbs? Raise your hands. Oh, okay. Don't jump. Nobody. Okay. Harry Hibbs played an accordion, one of those squeeze boxes. Played some wonderful music, and a lot of it was Newfoundland style or Nova Scotia maritime style. One of the most favorite songs he played that was one of my favorites, and I heard it over the weekend by Tom Kiefer in the band, was Black Velvet Band, which was one of the greatest songs that I felt I grew up with. Another one was Johnny Mathis. How many of you have heard of Johnny Mathis? Okay, so now some of these albums are older than some of the people in the room because the Harry Hibbs album is from the early 60s. The Johnny Mathis album was from the same era. But this is one that I had to ask, and I brought this one because this was a song that has a great song and great beat to it. And a lot of people dance when they go out dancing to the different beats. In other words, there's the rumbas, there's cha-chas, there's merengues if you're going into the Latin music, Italian, tarantella, Polish polkas. Also in a lot of Polish weddings, they have what was called the chapina, which was a traditional, it's like a fertility dance, I guess is the best way of saying it. But there was a song that was out, it was called, anybody heard of this? The Alley Cat. Yes? Oh, a couple people. Yes, 2, 3, 4. And Green Onions. Great song. These are some of the songs. Bill Justice was the artist on this. Probably anybody ever heard of Bill Justice? Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, Dave. And I have one more I'm going to share with you before I turn over the lectern to some of our role holders. And this was a gentleman who was a big influence on a lot of people from our area in Nova Scotia. My parents loved him, great artist. His name was Hank Snow. Hank Snow, you've heard of Hank Snow. All right, Hank Snow did quite a few different songs, but this was one of the albums that I grew up with, and this album is actually from 1964. And one of the other ones I showed you, the Green Onions, that album is from 1958. So if you look back at the different forms of music that were introduced over the years, albums were one of the first things. There used to be 3 different speeds. There was a 78, which were the old vinyl. Then when you progressed, some of the albums that I have are 33, which is 33 means 33 revolutions per minute. I stand corrected, unless you dial it back a little. Well, I had Technique turntables, which you could actually adjust the speed on your thing. So anyway, 33 and a third. And then there were these wonderful things. Oh, hang on. That were called 45s. So 45s, they run around 45 times per minute. So I will share with you a couple of these a little bit later when I'm filling. But before I do that, I have to turn over the lectern to our word master of the day, Mr. Mike Florio, so he can tell us what word that I should have been using for the last 3 minutes.
Good morning, everyone. He may have used the word, I can't even remember. There you go. Stealing my thunder. That's our word today. Harmony. I love music. I love music. I love listening to music. A lot of those people like Nat King Cole, that era way back then, my parents listened to. So I grew up with music, and now we still chase this guy around, Eric Clapton, all over the world to go see him. He's in his 80s, and I still enjoy going to see him and listening to concerts live. I like live now because now, you know, now it's you could do things AI music, and why would you want to do that? Why would you want to? You want the artist to learn from that person. Anyway, our word today is harmony. I thought, we need a lot of harmony these days. Harmony refers to a pleasing, orderly arrangement of parts, agreement in actions and feelings, or a simultaneous sounding of musical notes to form chords. It signifies unity, peaceable relationships, and consistency in various contexts, from music theory to interpersonal relationships. Common uses of the word harmony in music: singers added a beautiful harmony to the melody. Relationships, they work together in harmony. Design, the room's furniture was arranged in a visual harmony. Ideas, there was a clear harmony between their ideologies. So there's a lot of ways that harmony can be used. Try and use it this morning, and I will be listening and counting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. We're in harmony with what we're doing here, correct? Next, I would like to introduce to you our master, who I see in the back of the room, and he's doing the 50-yard dash up here, and that would be Marty Johnson, our master.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day, fellow members and guests. Today is Master. I'll be testing my listening skills and recording all the pregnant pauses, uses of ahs, ums, ers, and I'll report back, hopefully with wonderful harmony at the end of the meeting. Thank you, Larry.
So for those of you that are following our agenda, which I have over there, and those of you who are online, you may notice that I'm jumping around with introducing some of the role holders, and that's just to make sure everybody's listening and getting them moving. Right, Dave? Speaking of Dave, we have Mr. David Licata, who's standing over there. He's going to be our quiz master, so we're going to jump all the way down to quiz master before we do our quote.
We had a gentleman in the club. He went on vacation. He came back with 2 ideas: gesture master and quiz master. We decided that gesture master should be covered by your evaluator, but the quiz master survived. So it's my job to find out who was listening. I will have a series of questions at the end of the meeting. And it's been said that Crosby, Stills, and Nash were the most harmonious of all.
Thank you, Mr. Licata. So is that one of those what would be considered MIO or IMO? In my opinion, Crosby, Stills said yes. Thank you, Dave. Next, we have our inspiration, which was Mary, and we have our quote master, Tracy Farrell. Tracy, I see you're online, and I know you have a wonderful quote for us today. Tracy Farrell.
Why, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, because as Toastmasters, we all know that music brings such harmony to our lives. So I have 2 quotes, one from Bob Marley. The one thing about music is when it hits you, you feel no pain. And my favorite quote from Friedrich Nietzsche: without music, life would be a mistake. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Tracy. Next, we have a very important role, our jest. And going to give us, oh, she's coming up right now. Matter of fact, I saw her on Saturday. Was it Friday, Saturday? One of those days at the Hooley. And I was at one end of the room. She was at the other. And it literally took her about 10 minutes to get over there to say hello. And I want to thank her for that. So, Maggie, our jest.
Good morning. I thought, when he said that word, the first thing that popped into my head, I'm going to get you all to do it. I like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to buy the. Oh. That's our generation. Since this week's theme is what's our playlist, I realized something, and that is that my playlist rules, it's not just music anymore, it actually rules my brain. You know, I wake up in the morning and the first thing I hear is, "Here comes the sun," doo, 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 doo. And it's a beautiful brand new day, and I swing my legs over the bed, put my foot on the floor and step on a Lego. Another one bites the dust, and another one's gone. No, I think, then I look at my phone and I have 2 missed calls, 3 emails marked urgent, and it's 6:20 and I have to be at Toastmasters at 7. So, under pressure, I get out of bed, get dressed, and I'm now moving forward. Don't worry, be happy. And as I realize that I need my glasses to really stay on this, by the time I get Toastmasters at, as we all know, 7:02, I'm singing, "I Will Survive." So if I seem pretty confident today, it's not me, it's my playlist. And when you see the red light, the red card today, just remember, final countdown. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, Maggie. I have to move my stepladder. That was wonderful. You actually took the theme and went with it, and I appreciate that very much. So thank you very much for your jest this morning. Next, we have another person who is very important to our meeting, and I see him online, and he has been the keeper of time for many, many years, Mr. Phil Russell, our timer.
All right, can you hear me now? Okay. Let me tell you, this has been a challenge for me this morning. I actually hate timing. I really do. And I'm not prepared to at all, except I do have a timer on my big computer. That's good. I can tell what time it is. Now I've got colors for you too. Here's a color. When it's green, you're going to see a sleeve come up. You see that? That's green. I'm improvising very fast. Orange. This is my Guinness shirt. See that orange? All right. Then you see some crazy colors up there. You know that's yellow. Then red. Good old Buffalo Bills. All right. And if you're in the house and there's a helper there, please help. I'm going to do timing the old-fashioned way, the way I learned it back in 1982. We're going to do table topics, 1 to 2 minutes. The time will go off green at 1, orange or yellow at 1:30, and then red at 2, and you have plus or minus 15 seconds. Evaluators, 2 to 3 minutes. Timing will be 2, 2.5, and 3. Or green, orange, red, yellow, red, whatever color you want. And the speeches, 5 to 7, it'll be green. 5, 6 for the yellow, orange, and red at 5, unless I'm told otherwise. Now, this harmony stuff, I can't hold a tune with it. Tiddler's dam. So, what I've done is I put in, when I took my music course in college, I liked Beethoven and Tchaikovsky. Now, when we get to rock and roll, it was the Killer. Then Elvis. Then it comes later, the Beatles and the Stones. And of course, our local group, King Harvest. But me and Harmy, we just do not get along too well. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Mr. Russell. We appreciate you. Next, I would like to introduce to you my general evaluator who will be evaluating the evaluators and the meeting as a whole. So please welcome Sylvia.
Good morning. As general evaluator, I will be evaluating our Toastmaster this morning and the evaluators. So I have to put my listening ears on this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I proceed to letting you know a little bit more about the agenda, I wanted to flash back a little bit. And some of the music that shaped me throughout the years, there were different formats, as I had mentioned before, the albums. And growing up, my family used to play a lot of those. And also we had a lot of live music in the house. Everyone had either had, I learned how to play the spoons when I was, I think, 10 or 11. Spoons? If you're not familiar, ask me later. All right. Then, as I grew up as a young adult, there was a song that came out that was very, I'll just put it out this way. Have you ever heard of this gentleman here? Sergeant Barry Sadler. He had a song that was called The Ballad of the Green Beret. There was a friend of my parents whose son was a Green Beret. And they were an older couple, and they loved this song. And we used to go to the VFW when I was a child, and for bingo and different other things. And this was a song that was on the jukebox, and they loved the song. So I went and sat down and learned the song so that I could actually sing it to them. And it was a song that kind of stuck with me for many, many years. It was The Ballad of the Green Berets, Sergeant Barry Sadler. Never made the top 10 per se, but it moved in the charts, but it didn't quite go there. Happy Birthday was a song. Happy birthday to you, yes? This was a 45. It's from Peter Pan Records. It's from 1958. And this was a song, it was 25 cents for this 45 back then. This was a song that for many, many years, you'd get in trouble if you actually sang that song because of the copyright rules and things. So Happy Birthday, a song that we're all familiar with. This is the original 45. Another one was Snoopy, Christmas Time. Yes? No? This was from in the 60s, actually. And they raised the price on the 45s. This was 25 cents. They raised it to 29 cents. People were outraged back then. But that was how things went. And a lot of the different companies, such as Time Music and put out different, what would be called series. This was Tops and Pops. This was all pop music back in the era. And I have some 45s in here. Some I've taken out, which I'll share with some of you a little bit later. But I have quite an array of different musical formats that I've collected over the years, which to me, they're valuable. To others, they're vinyl or something that's collecting dust. And with that, what I'm going to do is not collect any more dust on our lectern here and continue with our meeting. Our role for our speakers today, Marshall stepped up as alternate speaker to be a speaker today, so he'll be assuming speaker number 1. Speaker number 2 will be David Jones, and speaker number 3 will be Margot, And I'll ask their evaluators when they come up to introduce them and also give their speech title if they know it. If not, let me know. And it's actually on a form here. So if you're not familiar, just look down and you'll find it. We now have impromptu speaking. So we're going to see if everyone's in harmony with the meeting today as I invite up our table topics master, Nancy Ferry. And Nancy, feel free to how do I say it? Ask, invite, tell whoever you would like to introduce as your table topics contestants.
Oh, thanks, Larry. What a great topic and a wonderful word of the day, harmony. I always think of our club as harmonious because it smoothly runs most of the time and we have roles and we just know what's going to happen, and that's important to me. Our playlists. I am going to ask Beth, you're over there smiling. I think you've got a playlist in your head. Do you use playlists on your phone? You want to come up and share with us? So, Beth, you keep your playlist on your phone. When do you pull it out and need it, and or is it something that you use all the time? And please use the word harmony. Beth, thanks.
Yes, I have a playlist on my phone. I really should update it though, because I like a lot of different kinds of music. They're not all here. Larry took me back. Some of the music here, for those of you who are of an age like me, Lawrence Welk. You know, those kinds of music. I like it all. I'm not really fond of rap. Don't have a clue what they're saying. Might catch one word in five. So if they're trying to send me a message, I'm missing it. My playlist, okay, let's see. I have things like show tunes, Christian contemporary, Ed Sheeran. Yes, Kate, I have an Ed Sheeran station. We had a little debate about this one day. Celtic, Elvis, folk. I have a bunch of holiday, pentatonics, Michael Bublé, Today's Christmas, Natalie McMaster, the Beach Boys. I don't think I put this one on, but my son tends to take my phone and put things on for me. Trevor Morris. Who is Trevor Morris? I don't know. 60s, 70s, and 80s hits. Flight to Neverland, the Beatles, Celtic Thunder. The list goes on and on. Do I have a lot? Yes, I do. Looks like Phil is moving, but I can't tell what in the world he's doing there. Is that supposed to be yellow, Len, do you think?
Yes.
So, yes, I have a lot of songs on my playlist. Yes. Yes, I think in the beginning. Yes. So, yes, a lot of harmonies, especially in Lawrence Welk. A lot of harmonies. I used to be able to sing, but now I can't anymore. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Beth. And Samantha, I saw you on earlier. Are you still there? Or did you run away? Samantha?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Ah. Samantha, I wanted to ask you, since you're a nurse and you work 12 hours a day, most nurses do, right? And when you go home to sleep, Is it difficult for you? Do you have a playlist that you like to listen to wind down and kind of let go of all the stresses of the day? And the word of the day is harmony. Please use that.
You, Madam Table Topics Master. At night, typically my husband and I put the kids to bed, and we do have a lullaby playlist that we listen to on Spotify. So generally, that's what I'm listening to when we put the kids to bed. That's the great thing about Spotify is any harmony that is appropriate for the occasion, you can find it on there. I'm always listening to something on Spotify. If it's Cinco de Mayo, I put on mariachi music. If we're at the beach, you can find a beach playlist. I make my own playlists. So I really do enjoy several playlists. My favorite genres would probably be classic rock, country music. I like a wide variety though. And there's a running joke with my neighbors that I'm the queen of name that tune, which I do enjoy. I'm pretty decent, but Mark Campos can name any tune. It's kind of ridiculous. So yeah, I enjoy all kinds of music. Thank you, Madam Table Topics
Thank
Master.
you for sharing with us and being here today. What was that? Oh. Okay. Zach, I don't believe you have a job, and you're from a very different generation than I am. So I would love to hear some of the things that you have on your playlist. And they probably won't overlap with anything that Larry and I have on our playlist, but we'd love to hear from you. And maybe they are. Maybe you'll surprise us with that. Please use the word of the day, harmony.
Thank you. Okay, so one of my favorite bands was my first experience with the harmony of rap and rock and roll. And this band is called Linkin Park. Recently on Spotify, I've been doing a deep dive and going all the way back to 2000 and listen all the way back in those old times long, long ago. And listening back through every album from Linkin Park. And that has been such a kind of journey back into my childhood, having a Walkman and plugging in the headphones and trying to wrap the wire around it because it keeps coming on and off. And so Linkin Park is one of my favorite bands. Other music, I like all types of music as well. I am a big fan of rap. Jay-Z was big for me. Kanye West is big for me. Lil Wayne was one of my favorite rappers as a young man. And yeah, so these are some of my favorite bands. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's always good to get a different perspective on what's important to people. And Larry, do you want to call for the time and the word? Okay. I have to look it up. Timer, would you please share with us whether or not our contestants met time?
Yes, Madam Table Topics Master. Excuse my stupidity and excitement with this off the cuff timing devices, but Beth did not qualify. 222. Sam at 108 and tied with Sam was Zach at 108. So you have a choice between Sam and Zach. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you. And it also depends on whether or not the person used the word of the day. So, Mike Florio, how did Harmony do this morning?
Phil, I don't know. I'm not sure Beth knew what towel you had up in the air there. You know? Feel a little bad for her.
Ah, too bad.
And it was your fault too. Everybody was trying to get her off her game here. Nobody mentioned Pandora. Pandora's my favorite too, because you just kind of put in, you know, the Rolling Stones, and next thing you know, it gets that whole genre, right? And then you can kind of, they'll sprinkle in stuff that you haven't heard in forever. But anyway, that's my favorite. Everybody use the word. Thank you very much.
Back to our Toastmaster of the day, Larry. And what a great theme.
Thank you. You can vote now as whenever they show up on your screen, or you can wait for the person who's, oh, there, she's already collecting them in the room. I heard the mention of rap music, and people were like, rap music, I know. Actually, rap music has been around for over 40 plus years. The first commercial rap song that was considered rap, and it was released and played on the radio and in different other formats. Does anybody know what that song was? The very first rap song ever. Rapper's Delight from 1979, and it was from the Sugar Hill Gang, which, if you've never heard the song, it was a great party tune. It still is a good party tune, but it was considered the very first rap song ever, commercially. Also want to welcome Alicia. I noticed Alicia's online, and she came into our meeting, so welcome. She's also part of our meeting today. What I also wanted to do while we're still voting, before we introduce our first evaluator and our speakers, throughout the years, I worked as a DJ, and as a DJ back in the day, we had to carry all of these things that which I was showing you before, which were 45s and albums, to almost every event. So I would have my truck filled with milk crates full of albums. 45s, I had cases that carried those, and it was a workout just getting them into the room to get set up. So when you would look at that, you'd look at maybe an 8-foot table or a 6 and an 8-foot table full of all of these albums and 45s, and you're thinking, okay, you're going to be playing music for 4 to 6 hours. How do you know where everything is? Over the course of time, it's like anything. You learn where different things are, where your hot hits are, and different things that you go to. And it was just basically something that taught me to organize things over the years. Format changed to a couple of different things. These are what were called cassettes, if anyone's ever heard of a cassette. Prior to that, my very first vehicle, I had an 8-track. Ooh, 8-track player. My very first 8-track I ever owned was an 8-track, Tubular Bells by Robert Oldfield, if anyone's ever heard of Tubular Bells. Yes, yes. Great song, interesting song. The format on these, a lot of people, Scooby-Doo. This was a Scooby-Doo teaching you phonics. Ooh, yes. And this was Jimmy Buffett, one of my favorite cassettes that I used to listen to yacht rocking around. It's time for our speakers to, I guess you would say, take us to a different place in time as we invite up our first evaluator. And our first evaluator is going to be Darcy, and Darcy will be evaluating Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I'm at a loss, Marshall. I don't know what the goals of your speech are. It's not on mine. So if you could tell me what your goals are, I'd love to know what those are so I can watch for them and see if you're meeting your goals and what your title is too.
Oh, that's on the alternate speak part.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was looking up at top where it says speaker number 1 and I didn't see anything. I'm seeing on pathways, visionary communications is the path. Know your sense of humor. This is a 5 to 7 minute speech, Mr. Timer. And the title is Nothing is More Expensive Than Free. Marshall's song, Nothing is More Expensive Than Free. Nothing is More Expensive Than Free, Marshall song.
Thank you. Does anyone here like fishing? I guess if you want to catch a fish, you need to give it some free bait. It's The same principle scammers use to break our harmonies. They give you some free services, gift, or food, and then trick you out of a lot of money. There are 3 different scam cases. I hope they can serve as a warning to you. Case 1, gamble. If you arrive in Macau, you'll notice free things everywhere. There are hundreds of free buses. If you are a VIP, you can ride in free Rolls Royce and helicopters. Yes, you are correct. They will take you to their casinos. The casinos will offer you free drinks and snacks. Purchase some chips, and then you'll get free buffets and free 5-star hotel accommodations. I have a classmate who often went to drink the free bubble tea at MGM Casino. I guess from your country, Las Vegas. One day, out of curiosity, he gambled $100 and then won $5,000. He became addicted to gambling. He went to casinos frequently. After 6 months, he had lost $500,000. For a Chinese young man, that's an astronomical amount. He is still in debt. Case 2, free globe tours. There are plenty of free or extremely cheap tour groups. In fact, these tours are shopping tours. Most of the time, you are shopping, not touring. And the guides only let you leave once you've bought a certain amount. Last October, my dad said he found a free globe tour to Beijing on TikTok. I said, Dad, this must be a trip. A trip? That's Beijing. Nobody dares to break the law in Beijing. That's under the feet of our dear president, who is the Son of God and was transformed from a dragon. The tour guides took my dad deep into the mountains. Within a 30-kilometer radius, there were more wolves and tigers than people. Then my dad had no choice but to buy a lot of things he didn't need at a very high price. Otherwise, he would have had work for a whole day to get back to the downtown. Case 3, free eggs. Many places use free eggs to attract people to attend their health lectures. They claim their products using the latest American technology can kill all of the illness. But actually, they are entirely made in China. One day, I noticed a nearby store giving away free eggs. I was afraid that my mom might be scammed. So I quickly bought 60 eggs from the Sam's Club and gave my mom. Hey, Mom, see, there are so many eggs. We don't need more, right? But my mom still secretly went there and stood in line for 2 hours and got 10 free eggs. After the lecture, she spent 2,000 US dollars on a magnetic necklace. You can buy the exact same one on Alibaba for just $5. My mom said this necklace is different. It has absorbed the essence of the sun and the moon. If she wears it, she will never get any disease. Okay, conclusion. China is slightly different from the US. Churches are not allowed to hold public events. There are not many real charities or NGOs. If you come to China and see anything being offered for free, you'd better to run away as fast as you can, because nothing is more expensive than free here. Thank you.
Thank you, Marshall. Such a true story. Speaking of nothing for free, over the years, I had mentioned before about all the albums and the 45s and things that I used to carry when I would work doing my job as a DJ. Then they changed the format and went to CDs. Everyone back in the era said, oh, that'll never stick around. So we would still carry all those albums and all those 45s as we transferred over to a few of the CDs. One of my very first CD I owned was Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel. That was one of my first CDs. But this was one that a local artist, his name is Michael Saviska. Anyone ever heard of Michael Saviska? I grew up with Michael's family. They lived on 19th Street in Niagara Falls, New York. His father was a barber, used to cut my hair. I used to date his sister back in the day. But Michael did a lot of great music, which were basically the old standards, which he got signed by a record company, which was a wonderful thing, and a local artist that made it good for a little bit of time. Speaking of a little bit of time, I gave Jim a couple of seconds to review his notes, and Jim Sacco will be evaluating our next speaker, which will be David Jones. Jim Sacco.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. David Jones is going to be giving his speech from the DTM manual now, his first speech, where he's going to talk about his project. Now, the purpose of his project is to demonstrate in harmony his skills as a leader and as a public speaker. And it's a 5 to 7 minute speech about how he will complete this project. David Jones, his speech, My DTM Project, and it's entitled Chamber of Commerce Expo. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Like many of you, when I joined Toastmasters, it was to overcome my fear of public speaking. I didn't join Toastmasters to get a DTM, to be in speech contest, or be part of the trio. It was simply to overcome my fear of public speaking. Mark McCormick wrote a book called The 110% Solution. In it, he talked about successful people are successful because they simply show up. They show up and do what they're supposed to do. And when I started at Toastmasters, I would show up to meeting after meeting, give speech after speech, and eventually somebody came up to me and congratulated me and said, "You earned a Triple Crown. Congrats." I didn't even know what a Triple Crown was. I wasn't working towards it. I would just show up and do what I was supposed to do, go to meetings and give speeches. And over the years, I've continued to win triple crowns, not even trying to work for them. The same would happen when I raised my hand as club officer or a committee member or being a part of the trio. I was just asking where can I be of service in the organization and help my fellow Toastmasters. And during that leadership journey, I never thought about DTM. It wasn't a goal. I knew about it in the back of my mind, but for me, it wasn't something I really needed to accomplish. But 8 years later, here I am. Through my journey, I've done everything I've needed to do in order to accomplish my DTM. Now, a few years ago, when I was elected as the club growth director, I had a very small budget. And my job was to market the district in order to attract new members and possibly new clubs. And my thought was we should get a booth at the Chamber of Commerce Expo here in Charlotte, North Carolina. The people that go to the expo are business owners, executives, professionals like doctors and lawyers, and we got salespeople and people looking for jobs. And to me, those were the prime prospects of Toastmasters. We needed them and they needed us. I got together a team and we made a plan, and I had a vision of how the booth would look and what we would do. And it became my long-term DTM project, doing the expo year after year. And I have a few takeaways. So year one, I was scared to death, didn't know what to do, but I knew that I wanted to give out Toastmaster swag. I had never been part of an expo, and I thought that would be the best way to attract people. So I went online and bought about $300 worth of Toastmaster swag, which included the sunglasses and pens and notebooks and sticky notes and just pretty much everything that Toastmasters has. We went and we set up the booth, and it looked great. We had the tablecloths and the backdrops and all of this swag. And my team and I would start talking to different people walking by and engaging them. And my takeaways after that first year was, number one, most people don't know what Toastmasters is. There were hundreds, if not thousands of people at this expo, and majority of them never heard of Toastmasters, which was very shocking to me. My second takeaway was the swag. Now, I don't know if you've been to an expo, but when you walk in, the first thing they do is they give you a goodie bag. And when they come to your booth, they just start scooping it in to the bag. They start grabbing everything. They don't care what you're selling. They're like fat kids at Halloween, just grabbing candy and putting it all in there. I was in shock because we didn't have a budget. That money came out of my pocket to buy all that swag. So, lesson learned. Year two, no swag. I had the same committee, the same volunteers, but this time I just had a big bag of candy, put it in the middle of the table with Toastmaster brochures all around us. And it was great. We had a good time. We worked in harmony as a team. We learned how to attract people into our booth and how to engage with them and talk to them about Toastmasters. It was a wonderful experience. And this year, it was a little bit bigger. We had more volunteers and we had more people in the expo helping us. And I knew at that time that the following year, year three, I was going to be district director and I wanted somebody else to handle the Chamber Expo for us. So when I became district director, I appointed a community outreach chair, which is a role in Toastmasters, and her job was to do all things Chamber of Commerce. She would go to ribbon cutting ceremonies and different events where she would pass out brochures and talk to people about Toastmasters. And her main job was the expo, which was actually yesterday. So yesterday morning, I got up early. I went to the store to buy some small snacks like bags of chips and cookies, and then the small waters to put out along with the brochures. And while I was at the grocery store, my community outreach chair texted me and said, "I don't feel good. I can't make it." So once again, I was on my own. And I went and we had a great time. This year it was almost double the size of the previous years. There were so many people going there and being a part of it. And we were just observing everybody and just, again, year number 3, working in harmony and just engaging people. And I already got some calls from people and emails asking for Toastmasters Club. So overall, the DTM project of this expo has been successful. I won't do it next year, but hopefully I will have a different community outreach chair to do it. Now, my overall takeaway from this journey as to become a DTM is not to focus on the goal. Just enjoy the journey and the goal will come. And I've enjoyed this journey of becoming a DTM because it also got me here to district director, but my role as district director is coming to an end in about 2 months. And I'm looking forward to seeing what my next journey is and where that journey will lead me to in my goal of Toastmasters. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. Before I introduce our third evaluator who's making her way up, the reason I had brought up a lot of the different music genres and formats throughout the years, believe it or not, I'm losing my voice, which is hard to believe. Over the years, my music list has changed as far as what I listen to because I really don't have a particular genre of music that I stick to because I love all kinds of music. A lot of the music is the beat of the music. Sometimes not even the lyrics, but just the tempo of the music. Over the course of years, when music started changing, went from albums, like I was saying, you also had mini discs, cassette players, and then it went to the laptops and computers. So now you can walk in with a laptop this is not a laptop, but a laptop that is this big, carry it with one hand, not have to use a truck. You could ride in on your bicycle and still be an entertainer. And in that little computer, you might have 100,000 songs at your leisure to go to. The format of the music, a lot of them are considered what's called an MP3. So if you know anything about music and you listen to it, some of the old albums and things, when you would play them, it has a certain sound and has that full body. An MP3 is compressed. So what ends up happening is that if you try to elevate some of the music without using any type of digitation, that word, your harmony of the music, it's distorted so that the music breaks up. Too much to know about music, but when you're listening in your ears with your earbuds and you're listening to Spotify or some of the other music services, you're listening to, most of them are considered a WAV file or an MP3 file. So a little bit of history on music for you. And now our third evaluator, I just heard something going on. Yes, our third evaluator, Carol Ann Halstead. And Carol will be evaluating our third speaker who is also online today, Margot.
When I think of the word harmony, I think of the Everly Brothers and the Lennon sisters. And my form of what music is on was the albums, because you had a great big picture of the artist. Today I am evaluating Margot. The path she is on is strategic relationships, level 3, connect with storytelling. The purpose is to practice using a story within a speech or giving a speech that is a story. Her time is 5 to 7 minutes, and the title is Meet Page Turner. Page is spelled Paige. Margot.
Thank you. I am so glad all of you could join us at this special gala dinner on board the Margim Express. You know, this is a very important night here in Medina. We are celebrating Noah Lott and his tenure here at the Medina Pickle Factory. Now, you may know that he is kind of a big deal here in Medina, And he has done wonderful things for us. So the fact that he is retiring gives us this opportunity to say thank you to him. Now, you might be wondering why I, Paige Turner, reporter for the Medina Journal, am emceeing tonight. Well, my boss, correspondent, was supposed to do it. But when I looked at her speech, I sort of offered to take over so that we could have a little more fun. So I relish this opportunity to speak about the pickle factory. Now, you do know that the Medina Journal is sponsoring tonight's dinner. Why? Because the pickle factory advertises with us. Granted, it's only for jobs. They don't do a lot, but hey, income is income, right? And secondly, I want to further my writing career to the next level. And what better way than to write a book about the pickle factory? And since we are all on a train and you folks can't go anywhere, I'm going to interview every single one of you so you can learn about the pickle factory and teach me what you know to make my book better. This book is going to feature the history and the growth of the pickle factory. When Noah came, it was one little tiny plant, but now look, it's expanded production. We have a team of chefs that develop pickle recipes, and it's all perfect subjects for my book. So who have I interviewed so far? Well, first of all, I've done a lot of human interest stories, and I interviewed the first woman hired at the pickle factory. Her name was Estelle Hertz, and she was just delightful to talk to. She was the perfect secretary, organized, taciturn about confidential matters, verbose about promoting the pickle factory, well-dressed. Her story about rising from humble beginnings was one of my most read pieces. I was surprised when she retired, given her stellar reputation. In fact, she did indicate to me that it does still hurt that she had to retire. But I loved her institutional knowledge over the past 3 managers. Now, her replacement, Mary Nade, she was a little bit different. She's the queen of one-word answers. Her answer to a follow-up question is a stare that would freeze water into ice. Friendly? Not in her vocabulary. Her attitude was, you don't like my answer? Deal with it. Sometimes I wonder what she had on Noah that allowed her to keep her very important position. Now, we also have a chef at the pickle factory. Have you met him? His name is Sal Manila. His full name is Salvatore Marinara Enrico E. coli Milli Vanilli Manila. He is the chef extraordinaire, as he reminds us all the time. His recipes will pickle your fancy. I wanted to do a recipe column, but he's so hush-hush about his spices and things, I couldn't get a word out of him. I did write about our wonderful new accountant, Bonnie Ann Clyde. I know she's a suffragette. She wants to unionize all of us. She has her thing. And in that way, she reminds me of a volcano. Really pretty to look at, but something's bubbling below that surface, and you never know when she's going to explode. And when she does, look out. But Bonnie Ann Clyde knew exactly how to keep all our books. She would make sure that the factory money was treated like her own. Our running joke, you would put her in a round room, tell her there's a penny in the corner, and she'd never come out until she found it. I know Estelle mentored her when she first came to the company. Mary treated her with the same disdain like she treats everybody else. But my best interview of the whole series was the one I did with Noah's life, Mona. Mona Lot. Mona lies a lot. Her maiden name was Mona Lies a Little. Big city girl, fashionista, rich daddy girl, learning to navigate small town life. Quite the storyteller Mona was. Her travels, her clothes, sometimes even gossip about the famous people she met. In fact, I just talked to my boss correspondent, and I was going to do a whole series on her life. But now that Noah's leaving, that goes out the window. But we are here to celebrate Noah Lot on this wonderful Express. And I hope you can share with me some stories about our leader, Noah Lot. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Margot. If I may have a timer's report, Mr. Timer, Phil.
I'm just putting it together, knowing me with my technical difficulties with all of it I do at home. And I should be there in person, but my doctors have limited on me on driving, so I'm not driving at night yet. Now, Marshall, 7:05. I had a little technical difficulty with Dave, but I had him at 6:37. And Margot was very accurate, and I have her at 5:24. So they all qualify on the 5 to 7 minute scale.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. You may vote for any of our three speakers today. First speaker was Marshall. Second speaker was David Jones. Third speaker was Margot. So please place your ballots and we'll collect those. One of the things that has made music very, very easy over the years, if you remember what I was saying, that when I used to go to an event as a DJ, I would have all of these albums and 45s and CDs and even cassettes that I would have with me, and trying to find them sometimes was, where is it? Okay, and I've got it. Now, you know the technology. You can say, Alexa, play this song, and boom, it's there. Didn't have to look up anything other than where Alexa was sitting. She's listening. Also, on my phone, I have an iPhone, and on my iPhone, I have Siri. So I can say, hey, Siri, and she's listening, play this song, and she'll play it, which is kind of cool, but scary at times. Speaking of which, we're going to bring up our evaluators right now. Our very first evaluator today was Darcy. Darcy evaluated Marshall. Darcy.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And thank you, Marshall, for your speech today and giving me the opportunity to evaluate your speech today. If your goal was to infuse humor into your speech, you nailed it. And the spontaneous laughter was a great indication of that. Lots of good things I saw today, Marshall. I heard great pacing, and I appreciate that because of the language barrier. I admit I didn't catch every word, but you had a nice pace so that I could most of the time follow along. I noticed you have a great comfort level. Every time you give a speech, I notice you get a little bit more comfortable. I saw great hand gestures, the coins, this, and we were talking about your dad, and it was great. Very nice use of gestures. Eye contact was spot on. You were looking at the camera almost the whole time. Your smile, very nice addition, and of course you want to have that when you're giving a humorous speech. One thing I noticed, and I've noticed this ever since I started here, you kind of squeeze your eyes together sometimes. And I find myself waiting for the next one. So maybe, I know sometimes, and I'm guilty of it too, we do things and we don't even know that we're doing them. So just a little pick-nitty thing. And maybe for clarity, realize that with the language barrier, it is hard for some of us to, and I don't hear very well. I have ringing in my ears. I don't know if that adds to my not being able to understand you also, but the clarity and your pacing, just make sure you're mindful of that. I loved your organization. You had one gambling, the tour groups, and the free items. And you laid it out very nicely in your organization, 1, 2, and 3. The interest, you had us hooked because this is something we can all relate to. And again, the engagement, you had us hooked with the laughter. Congratulations, you did a nice job, Marshall. Thank you.
Thank you, Darcy. Our next evaluator we'll be bringing up is Jim Sacco, and Jim evaluated Mr. David Jones today on his DTM project.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, especially you, David. What a great speech today. It is very difficult for myself as a new Toastmaster to evaluate somebody speaking out of the DTM project. Now, the objective of your project is a member will deliver a well-organized, well-executed speech about a plan to complete a project of your design. And you talked about at first your fear of public speaking and how you dealt with that by becoming involved with Toastmasters, how you became a DTM. You didn't plan to become a DTM, but once you became a DTM, you talked about how you promoted Toastmasters in a different arena by going to the setting up a program to go to these Chamber of Commerce expos. And working at that, you talked about what you learned from the expos, all the different years over the different years with the handing out the swag, and how I know what it's like at some of those conventions that I've gone to, where I say, oh yeah, what's this guy handing? I have 1,000 pens at home from different places that I've been to, but you did well with this. And we talked about what your concerns were with pacing as well as pausing. And I think you handled that extremely well when you gave your speech. So you did fantastic with the speech. But the thing is, one thing that really concerned me is the objective was to evaluate the member's speech about the project that you're going to complete. And you talked about your project being going to the expos and what have you. You talked about the different years of what you learned over the different years, and you spoke about it seemed to be about not so much the DTM, about the DTM project itself, being at the expos, but at the end you said, well, the objective here is to challenge yourself to find another job to do as another DTM project for you to do in the future, and also to enjoy this journey that you're on. And I welcome you on that. I look forward to the challenge and some of the project that you're putting together. So, Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you, Jim. Our third evaluator today is Carol Ann, and Carol evaluated Margot, and she will be letting us know how Margot did today. Carol Ann.
As always, Margot is very animated, telling us, and did tell us a story. That was the goal. And you can tell she very much enjoys public speaking. And her clarity is very good, a lot of vocal variety. Her eye contact, a little off. She was looking up. I know it's a challenge how she probably has to place her camera, but she was looking up instead of making eye contact with us. You could tell that she was gesturing a lot, but again, the placement of the camera, we can't quite tell what she's doing with her hands in that tight space. She knew that it was a story that we would all enjoy. The humor was wonderful, especially the names of all the characters in the story. And it made it very interesting. And she didn't have any hesitation. She's just, her speeches always just flow very well. And I think at some point, I know she's a very busy lady, but it would be wonderful if she could, when she's assigned to a speech, maybe grace us with her presence so we could see her, especially her gestures more. And she did reach her goal of telling a wonderfully amusing story that all of us enjoyed. Thank you.
May we have a timer's report, please? Mr. Timer, Phil Russell. Don't throw in the towel yet. You're muted.
It happens all the time, but this technology, that's why I have to be there in person and all of that. And technically, Carol Ann is still talking. She never told us when she finished. She just stopped. But she was at 2:17, so she qualifies. Marshall was at 2:23, and Caroline Jim was at 2:30. So all qualified.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. You may vote for either Darcy, Jim, or Carol Ann. Please place your votes right now. Different genres of music over the years had different meanings to different people. One of them was, if you like country music, you've probably heard this. There's a song that was actually out by Rascal Flatts that basically addressed this. And one of the part of the lyrics was, if you like country music, you get your house back, you get your dog back, you get your best friend Jack back, you get your truck back, you get your hair back, and most of all, you get your first and second wife back. That was a Rascal Flatts tune about if you play it backwards. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, see, that's a quiz question for you. Speaking of a quiz question, I would like to invite our general evaluator to the lectern right now, and she will be evaluating our evaluators and the general tone of the meeting today. Please welcome to the lectern, Sylvia.
Okay. Music. Music brings back a lot of memories. In my parents' house, they had the turntable and the speakers. That was really big. We thought, wow, speakers. Never even saw those before. And my mother loved country music. And it wasn't the country music like today. It was country music like old Grand Opry music. It was really old. And we had to sit through that and couldn't wait till she left the house to turn it to an AM, channel and listen to, I don't know, whatever channel it was at that time. But it was better music. And I'm one of the people that you pull up next to in the car and they're going like this and the windows are down at 5 below zero, listening to the Beach Boys and all that stuff. And the person just looks at you like, you're crazy. But I'm the car singer and like people sing in the shower, I sing in the car. So our evaluators this morning, 3 evaluators who had really tough jobs, I think. I'll start with Darcy. She used his sandwich approach. Great suggestion for Marshall. And Marshall's speech, he had all these gestures. I don't know if it's your culture, Marshall, but I love it. You do the little hands and the 3 and all the other great things and using the camera really well. Jim, I would say he's left already, but he had probably the hardest evaluation. David is a very experienced speaker. He uses that camera well spot on. And it was hard to give David any suggestions I could find either. It was hard. Carol Ann, Margot, another experienced speaker. And yes, the camera, you used a Spanish sandwich approach, and the camera was a little bit distracting of her looking up. But Margot, with her language, I love it. You used relish and pick a factory all in the same sentence. It was comical. So the meeting I felt started right on time. Thank you, Darcy, with the pledge. And you had enough material, and probably more material, so that the evaluators could get their thoughts together and to come up, and I loved it. And I'm going to let Larry do the reports.
Thank you, Sylvia. We would like to hear now from our grammarian first to see how our grammar was today throughout the meeting. Please welcome to the lectern, Kate.
Thank you kindly. Okay, I will again take a page out of Margot's book and share strengths and weaknesses. The word of the day today, harmony, fantastic word. I think the second word of the day was gonna. I heard it from at least 6 of you. Let's work on that. Gonna, wanna, gonna, gotta, gonna. Work on enunciation. Finish the word, please. A lot of strong language. Eclectic, lullaby playlist, mariachi, phonics, overcome, takeaways, expo, swag, community outreach chair. Yes, we'll try to copy that. Engaging, pacing, language barrier, clarity, mindful, what have you. Went on a musical journey today. How about that technology? 8 tracks, 45s, Walkman, turntable. Very vivid language. I heard did a lot of great music. That was not wonderful. I think we did overall really fantastic. Don't use really. Oh, fantastically. My playlist, like my mother, I'm eclectic and then some. I have amplified, I think, what she has done. Unlike my mother and more like Zach, I do love me some rap music. I mean, bringing it up, thank you, Sugar Hill Gang, Bone Thugs and Harmony. If you have never listened to Bone Thugs and Harmony, look them up. When Missy Elliott came out as a surprise at the Super Bowl some years back, my little Gen X heart was beating so fast. And then some of the young folks said, wow, she's got a good career ahead of her. Who's that? Along with whoever else played that year, somebody really big. One of the Beatles or something sang that year as a surprise. And some of the young folks were like, wow, he's good. Who's that? He's got quite a career ahead of him. I love the mashup of generations that we have here. Lately, the last 5 years, I think some of you agree that online music has popped up. The influencers, right? Since 2020, and folks could be musical at home and then get a crowd to follow them. Some of my favorites right now, Jesse Wells, a little folk music. Heart loves Jesse. He goes by Wells. He's fantastic. Monrovia, fabulous. Carsey Blanton, little communist. Gotta love some of her songs. Co Rook, I love. Vinnie Marshy, Casey Lowry, the Wellermen, and Len will love Natty Dread. If I could get that Scottish songbird to our Celtic festival, Natty Dread is amazing. I better kick it back. I've gone over time. Thank you. Oh, wait, one more thing. I will show my t-shirt off. Life is good. Donate blood. All you got to do is donate blood from March 30th to April 12th. If you have any questions, let me know. And we have a Looney Tunes special coming out the 4th of July. Anyway, I'm going to steal your agenda. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you. I didn't notice you went long there, Kate. I'd like to invite our quiz master of the day up, Mr. David Licata. And I will be bringing up, right after him, I'll be bringing up Marty. You're welcome, sir.
I have a carefully drawn up list here of questions, but I know the first question is, what time did Maggie get up today? That's right. Thank you. Okay, this is for extra credit. He was mentioned a few times today. Back in the 50s, Sid Caesar's Show of Shows was #1. It was at the top of the heap. It was knocked out of the #1 spot by which band leader? Very good, super good. You got the extra credit today. And I'd like to thank you, Katie, for stepping on my question about the lullaby list. And what band is Zach fond of? Very good. And our friend Marshall had a friend who's in the hole for how much money now? A ton. Okay, now from the audience, somebody helped Larry with Larry would get stuck and not know the name of a group, and somebody would help them from the audience. Who was that? It was Michael Licata, and I've never been so proud. David Jones spent how much on Toastmaster swag? All righty. Final question. Where is this pickle factory located? Very good. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Mr. Dave.
Yep.
Just a quick point of order for you, Dave. Mike and I set that up so he would get a little kudos from his dad. Before I have Marty do our Master report, quick word report from Mike. Not that I did not forget you, because I wanted to give David a chance or someone to get that word harmony in one last time.
It's all good, Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you very much. With the help of Maggie and the Coca-Cola song, which that's what kind of got me going on harmony, I think we have a first here. Everybody used it or sang it today. So that was pretty cool, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Mike. Next, our last report of the day, because I wanted to let him get David's Oz in before we finished. Our Master, Marty.
Thank you, Larry. Everyone spoke in fairly good harmony this morning at the meeting. As far as Oz and ums, Larry had won, Dave Licata won. And I know in the past we spoke about using so's and buts. I did hear Sylvia with a but. Marshall had an ah. Darcy had an ah. David Jones had a so and a but. Jim Sacco had 3 ahs. Carol Ann 5. And Phil Russell had but and a stretched out and. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but that's what I heard. Mr. Toastmaster of the Day, Larry, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marty, for your report. We still have 2.5 minutes. We're rolling here today. I know. Just a quick update. There's breakfast this morning at Olive Leaf, I was just informed. For those of you that are looking to head that way, we need to bring up Mr. Mike Licata. Well, I'm just bringing you up because you're the keeper of money, because there's an announcement you need to make, isn't there?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I do want to thank everyone for paying their dues so far. I'm going to go to the bank right after this. So Carolyn's going to give me some money. Thank you for the checks this morning. If anybody else has anything, we have the end of the week. And don't forget, there is PayPal online.
All right, it's time to let you know who our winners are today. I'm going to bring up Darce to join me up here. The music's too loud. First of all, can anybody let me know what this song is that's playing? It was a song that was done by a lady named Shannon way back when, but it was written by this gentleman. His name is Barry White, and the song is called Let the Music Play. Thank you, Len, for bringing that up for us. Now, shall we basically... Okay, let's find out, first of all, our winners, table topics. Zach today. Zach Finney was our table topic. Zach's not here. Well, thank you. Our evaluator today was Darcy. That's why I wanted to get you up here, see. And our speaker of the day, kudos from across the big pond, Marshall was our best speaker of the day. Congratulations, Marshall. Marshall, we have a virtual ribbon we're passing right through to you. There it is. Next, we have our 50-50.
Last 3 numbers are 207. 207.
Who got it?
207. All right, Mike Florio. Very good. All right, what happened to the gavel? Okay, any other announcements? Who's a Toastmaster next week? Eric Schneider will be Toastmaster. Who are the speakers? Sam, Yang, and Larry will be speakers. All right, it's 8:30. We are adjourned. Thank you.